Good evening. My name is Tina Fenton, and I am working on my You're Hired project. And I'll be conducting a mock interview with myself and just answering a few of the general questions that an interviewer may ask an interviewee in maybe like the first interview for a particular position. So the first question that's usually asked is to tell me about yourself. Well, again, my name is Tina Samantha Fenton, and I am 28 years old, and I am a current CFA student. Um, my I'm working on my associate's degree with in general studies with a concentration in business, and my goal is to complete my program by this December of 2015. And after I complete the associate's degree, I do plan on moving forward towards the bachelor's degree, which is in communications. Um, my field wasn't always communications. Actually, my field of interest is psychology, which I do plan to move further on with my master's degree and my doctor's degree because I do want to earn a doctor's degree in organizational psychology, working with organizations and figuring out techniques to make their organization successful. And I'm going to move on to the tell me about your past work experience because I feel like my past work experience will also talk about a little bit about who I am and what it is that I love doing. Um, so I currently work in human services, with a specific interest in youth development. And I feel like I've been doing youth development for the past 10 to 12 years, um, growing out of youth into young adulthood and now becoming a woman. I've just found an interest in the heart and passion of working with young people and just helping them or trying to provide them and connecting them to services that will help them stabilize their life and just to help them be successful. So connecting them to resources that will help to propel them into what it is, their dreams, their goals, their aspirations, and what they want to do. Um, and I just love working with young people. They have a vibrant nature about them that I enjoy being around. They have a pure heart, and I love surrounding myself with those kind of energies. So that's my past work experience and my current work experience, just working in youth development and providing young people services. The next question is, describe a time when you worked well on a team. I think that my previous job, we there's about maybe 10 to 12 young adults who work together and as case managers or transitional employment supervisors. So learning that everyone has their own particular niche and not one of us is alike. I think that there are some that are very assertive. There are some that are laid back and allow those that are assertive to kind of um, take charge of or take initiative over various projects or something to that degree. But I think my particular role is the nurturing kind of motherly kind of figure on our team. I think that I provide a very warm and approachable nature, and that's my role on the team as well as being an advocate for the young people. Um, I think I know how to balance relationships really well and um, handle controversies really well. Um, so I think that's the kind of team that I work on and understanding when it's time to step up or when it's time to step back and allowing someone else to take the forefront or when it's time for me to take the forefront. Um, I believe in creating a very healthy work environment, so I try to advocate for the most positive, healthy work environment amongst my cohort of colleagues. Um, the next question is, tell me about a time when you had too many things to do and had to prioritize your tasks. So, for instance, I'm going to use school and employment and even church work as an example. So I remember one time that I had to prepare a sermon. I had finals coming up, and I had a deadline for work. And honestly, I think all of those deadlines were in the same exact week. So I had to take a step back and prioritize first and foremost which deadline was coming up first and which project would take the most energy out of me. So I would prioritize the most work, figure out a timeline or prepare a timeline for me to complete the most grieving work, and then I would complete that particular goal first. So I believe it was my sermon that I had to prepare. So I created my sermon. I researched what I needed to research, and wrote my sermon. Then I knew I had a paper for my final, and so again had to do my research for the paper for my final, and then with the deadline for work, I believe I had to write out individual service plans for various clients that I have on my caseload, and I took the time and sat down and went throughout all the paperwork or all the goals and accomplishments that many of my clients had obtained, and write out more individual service plans for them. And that was about 30 to 45 clients of mine. Um, so I think I had to learn which was the most grievous task and apply myself to the most grievous task so that I can alleviate the heaviest burden one step at a time. And I think that I did that well because I ended up getting, I believe, an A on my finals. Um, I prepared a sermon, or I facilitated a sermon, and I feel like it reached a lot of hearts or a lot of people. And of course, I met the deadline for my employment. The next question is, tell me about a time when you had to go above and beyond the call of duty. How did you handle the situation? Okay, so I have a client who I would say who's one of my favorite clients. You're not supposed to say that, but one of my favorite clients. We all have people that are just, they kind of gravitate to us and we gravitate to them. And you kind of have a special kind of bond and special kind of relationship with them. So I work with at-risk young people, and this client got locked up, and around 10 o'clock at night, my client calls me and is like, "Hey, Tina," and of course I'm being very pleasant with it right now because I'm interviewing. Um, I got locked up for shoplifting. She's crying, she's weeping, and she's like, what do I do? I'm like, well, you can't do anything right now. It's 10 o'clock at night. So yes, you made your one phone call, and I'll be at court with you in the morning. Just try to take it easy, calm down, think about the day, think about the process, think about some of the do's and some of the don'ts. Think about your pros and your cons. Think about your decision making. Take this time now that you're in this jail cell. Think about the time. Just take this time to kind of just reflect on some of the things that you can do differently. But I'll be there for you in the morning. And so I feel like the next day, I completely had to clear out my schedule because I did have other things to do. But because she was priority at that moment, and she needed her case manager to advocate for her, and she needed a positive, influential relationship presence in the courtroom, I feel like I went above and beyond and went to the court, which was outside of Boston, and showed forth my support. And I spoke with the judge, and because I was able to be a positive presence for her, and speak to some of the positive things that she's been doing in the community, the judge allowed her to, be dismissed for that charge. So I felt like I went above and beyond because, one, usually, you know, I understand like case management is not a 9 to 5 job, but honestly, not many people want to answer their phone after 5 o'clock. So I answered my phone at 10 o'clock at night, um, due to our relationship and I understood the severity of the situation, and just clearing out my schedule for her for the next day. I felt like I went above and beyond, um, to show someone that somebody does care for you and they will make sacrifices for you to do better. Um, and that was just above and beyond my call of duty. Um, so I handled this situation by being stern with her, but also showing my support with her and saying there is someone in your corner that will be there for you, but you need to start making better decisions for yourself. The next question is, tell me about a time where you worked effectively under pressure. And I think that there was a time when, if you know anything about grant-funded positions or grants or organizations being funded by grants, like non-for-profits. Um, you know, there will be times when the grant funder will come and do a site visit to the organization, and you kind of have to prepare yourself for that visit. So I remember there was a person that came and visited our organization, and of course they were looking at the every nicks and nanny. So we had to cross our T's and dot our I's to make sure that everything was on point, so we didn't get cited for anything. So people were walking or running around nervously because they didn't know what to expect with this grant funder, and they didn't know what proper things to say. And in my eyesight, if you're doing the things that you're already supposed to be doing, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. And yes, you want to present yourself to the best of your ability, or you want to present yourself really well to the funder, but just be you. You don't have to put on a show. Um, you don't have to put on a facade so that somebody you can make someone believe that you're doing something far beyond what you're actually supposed to be doing. So the grant funder came and they were doing the site visit, and um, this funder came to a site that I was working at, and started asking some of the young people that I was working with various questions, and the young people were answering the questions and things like that. And then the grant funder asked me a particular question, and I took a step back, and as I do when I'm thinking, I kind of look up because that lets people know that my mind is churning, and so I answered the question. So then the next day, I went into work, and my supervisor told me, he pulled me aside and said, the funder was really um, thought well of you. They were very impressed with the conversation that you were having with the funder, and so the grant funder wanted to some private time to discuss some things with me. So I think that moment helped me realize that as long as I continue to be myself and be sincere and be genuine about the work that I am doing, my work will show forth for me, and I don't have to put on a show or a facade to people. And I didn't allow the pressure of the actual organization that we were facing to take a toll on me. I kind of just woosad. I took that weight off of my shoulder and told myself, just be yourself and do what it is that you have to do. And the grant funder will see what it is that they need to see. So when the grant funder requested me to discuss whatever they wanted to discuss with me, it empowered me, and it encouraged me, and it continued to help to take the pressure off that was already being placed on throughout my organization. The next question is, give me an example of a time when you showed initiative. Well, one of the things that we have to do at my agency is to prepare curriculum development. And with that, we have to start to prepare the young people that we work with life skills, whether it be soft or hard skills. We have to help to prepare them with their life skills. So I believe every young person should be aware of financial literacy. So what I did was I reached out to one of our local credit union banks, and I talked with the financial literacy educator, and I set up some time for the financial literacy coach to come and do a workshop with the young people at my organization. And that, to me, that showed initiative, because not a lot of people were reaching out to the resources that we had in the community and bringing them in, so that the young people can see it's not just us that are talking these truths, or it's not just us that's trying to help them prepare for their future. I just did something out of the norm. I pulled on a resource from the community, and I believe that the young people gained something from that. So the facilitator came and they did the financial literacy workshop, and after that, young people were requesting more financial literacy workshops so they can learn what the difference between an ATM card and a credit card is, or a debit card is. And that's just the something simple. But the facilitator went into more in-depth financial literacy skills. So the last question is there anything else you would like us to know about you. I have a great smile, if you haven't already seen. And I just, I enjoy nurturing, um, but I also enjoy learning from other people's experiences. So I believe that one doesn't have to necessarily go through something to teach something. You can also learn from someone else's experience and teach from someone else's experience. Um, someone might say that might not be as effective as it could be if you were in the actual experience. I understand that. But with that, when you're teaching from someone else's experience, you can also show compassion towards that circumstance or situation just by showing your genuine nature about, or your genuine care and concern about that particular situation, and speak from the heart to address a situation. Um, and that is really it. I hope you enjoyed this mock interview, and I will see you next time. Hopefully, you'll ask me to do a second interview and learn a little bit more about me. You have a great day.